everyone. Today we will discuss chapter 12 of your geography column, that is understanding the earth. Now this chapter is taken up from social science textbook of class 7th. Now let's proceed with the chapter. Now as the topic says, first let's come to the topic, then we'll proceed with the explanation. Understanding the earth. Now you all know the meaning of understanding. Understanding is something when we get to know in detail about a particular thing, object, or in this chapter we can say we are getting to know in detail about a planet, that is Earth. Now in class 6 all of you have discussed, all of you have learned very well that Earth is called as a unique planet. Now why Earth is called as a unique planet? Very simple, in short and in simple words if I have to explain you, then Earth is a unique planet because it is the only planet where life is possible, where adequate amount of water, atmospheric balance is there, and biosphere is possible, that is existence of living and non-living organisms together is possible. So that's why Earth is called as a unique planet. Now let's proceed further. In this chapter we will discuss about what is the structure of Earth, that is what all components are there of Earth. Actually Earth is made up of which all layers. Okay, then second point that we will discuss in the chapter will be of different rocks and minerals found on this planet Earth and how they are useful, how they are formed. All these pointers will be discussed in this video. Now let's start with the basic. Now it says that Earth is a dynamic planet. Why Earth is a dynamic planet? When I say Earth is a dynamic planet, dynamic in general means ever changing. Something which keeps on changing with time, situations, that is called as dynamic. So do you guys think that Earth is a dynamic planet? Yes, you are right. Earth is a dynamic. 4 to 5 billion years ago, the structure of Earth was very different from what it is now. Now that's why it is called as a dynamic planet, because it's ever changing. If you can see around yourself, there are movements in Earth. For example, volcanic eruption is also one of the movement. Landslides also cause change in the structure of Earth. There are different formations of mountains. Erosion is there. Deposition is there. All these are some factors which lead or which support to the fact that Earth is a dynamic planet. Now I hope this is clear. Let's move further. That is 4 to 5 billion years ago, gas and dust particles cooled down to form the structure. We discussed about the Big Bang theory, which tells us about how the universe was formed, how our solar system was formed. Likewise, for the structure of Earth, we will discuss later about the theory of plate tectonics and continental drift. That I will tell you later, or I will add on in the description. Because of those two theories, we can say that all the dust and gas particles, they cooled down for billion years ago, and hence they lead to the formation of continents and oceans. Yes. Now next, if we have to conclude this, so we'll just quickly wrap it up in few pointers that Earth is a dynamic planet because it keeps on changing. For example, there are different processes going on like erosion, deposition, volcanic eruptions, and so on. 4 to 5 billion years ago, few dust and gas particles, a lot of actually dust and gas particles, they formed together, they cooled down after intense heat and pressure, and they led to the formation of actual structure of Earth that we will discuss later in this video. Now there are two new terminologies related to this chapter. First is geology and the next one is geologist. Now what is geology? Geology is something that is the science to study about the structure of Earth. If I am studying about, as my profession, I am studying about the structure of Earth, then my study will be called as geology. So the science to study about structure of Earth both structures, interior structure and outside structure, both structures. That study is called as geology. Now what if I am the one who is studying this? Then I become an expert who knows about the structure of earth, and hence I will be called as a geologist. So any one of you who grow up and take up this academic course of geology and get succeeded in it, completes it, and hence you will be called, then after that you will be called up as a geologist. So geologists are experts who study about, say, the structure of earth, that is interior and outside structure. Now I hope this introduction is clear. Let's proceed on. Start with the main part of the chapter, that is structure of the earth. When I say structure, that means actually what it looks like, actually what all things it contains, what all elements are there, components are there, that is something we call as structure. Now before we start up with this diagram, I would like to show you this onion. Now you must have peeled onions before, and if you can see here, this onion has different layers. I can peel it off and there are different layers in this onion. Yes, just like the different layers of this onion, the earth also has different layers. Yes, you have to believe it that our planet earth also consists of different layers, and that we will discuss in this lesson. Now after this I would like to show you this very small tiny model of earth. Yes, it might look a little funny because yesterday when I was planning for this video, I just found out this clay and made this structure out of it just to make it more interactive. Now, okay, if you see, this is somewhat like a model of the earth. This is how our earth looks, somewhat like. Now, if I take off one piece out of it, so this different colors, can you see these different colors? That is blue, yellow and red. This is how our earth structure is divided. That is different layers. This is your core, this is your mantle, and this is your crust. So these are the three different major layers, and now we will proceed with the further detailed explanation of the onion peel and the clay model for introduction of what actually the structure of earth is. Let's get back to the real explanation now about the structure of earth. That is the main part of your chapter. Now if you see this is your 2D presentation of the earth planet. Now if we look inside it, if we have a look at these different layers, these are the layers to whom we call as structure of earth. Yes. Now let's find out what are the different names and terms used for these layers. Then later on we'll discuss about them in detail. Now first and foremost, if we see, this red portion depicts your inner core. Now before this, I would like to tell you one thing, that majorly the earth is divided into these three layers, that is core, mantle and crust. Now first and foremost, this red region is the innermost part of earth is inner core. Then after that it's outer core layer, after that it's lower mantle. So we can say the core is divided into inner and outer core region. Then mantle is also divided into lower and outer, also called as inner and outer mantle. Now this is your lower mantle region. After lower mantle, and actually between lower mantle and upper mantle, there is this layer that is called as asthenosphere. After that it's your upper mantle, and finally the outermost layer is your crust. And this layer between lower and upper mantle, that is asthenosphere, is the main source for magma. Here this is the source from where the magma emerges, and then later on it leads to volcanic activities and volcanic eruptions. Now this is just an overview of the layers of earth. Now let's discuss in detail about each and every layer of earth, that is crust, mantle and core. So just remember that crust is the outermost layer, crust, then mantle is the middle layer, and inner core or outer core, actually core is the innermost layer of the earth, that is crust. Now if you can observe this blue region, the outermost layer is called as crust. Now this crust is mainly made up of the lighter rocks, huge rocks, magnesium, aluminium, minerals. Now let's find out more about it. If we have to further divide crust, actually the crust is further divided into two parts, that is oceanic crust and continental crust. Now the difference between oceanic and continental crust is the minerals found there. For example, in oceanic crust, silicon, here Si stands for silicon and Ma stands for magnesium. Silicon and magnesium are found and hence this layer is also called as SiMa. That is Si of silicon and Ma of magnesium. Now if we see the next one, that is continental crust. Now the continental crust has lighter rocks and lighter minerals. That is, actually it has lighter rocks with minerals such as silicon and aluminium. Si stands for silicon, Al stands for aluminium. Now hence this layer is also called as Cl layer, that is silicon and aluminium. The thickness of this layer is up to 50 kilometers and the thickness of oceanic layer is 10 kilometers only. So we can say that continental layer are more thicker than the oceanic layers. Now if we talk about crust as a whole, the crust is the most thinnest layer among all these layers which we have not discussed, which we will discuss further, but we have termed them, we have named them. That is core, mantle. Among all these three layers, crust is the most thinnest. So that's how I can conclude up with your outermost layer of the earth, that is crust. It is divided into two parts, that is oceanic crust and continental crust. Then oceanic crust is also called as Cl because it has silicon. Oceanic crust is also called as SiMa because it has silicon and magnesium. Whereas continental crust is also called as Cl because it contains silicon and aluminium. When I say it contains silicon and aluminium, it means the rocks which are found here, it has such minerals. Rocks contains minerals, more than one mineral. So these are the minerals found in the rocks that are found there. Then the crust is also the thinnest layer and it extends up to 50 discussed about crust. After beneath crust is your mantle layer where it is said that the temperature is really very high. So first feature of mantle is that the temperature here is very high. Now because of high temperature it supposes different features also that we will discuss now. First and foremost, let's come to the basics. That is, it extends up to 2900 kilometer of thickness, then 85% of volume, and there is 64% of mass on the layer of mantle. Now, it contains metals like iron and silicates. These are the basic description of mantle. Now, the mantle, like core, was divided into two parts. One is inner and outer core. But the mantle is divided here in three parts, that is inner, middle and upper mantle. There are majorly two, but we for better classification, for better understanding, we divide it into three parts. That is the inner mantle, middle mantle and upper one. Now this middle mantle is also called as asthenosphere. Now this asthenosphere has some significance here, like it is because it is in most of it is in liquid form and the temperature there is really very high, so it supports the formation of magma. Yes, magma, which you discussed, which you have studied in class 6, that it leads to the formation of volcanic activities, and this volcanic activities we can hence prove now, or we can say now, that they start from asthenosphere because it is liquid in form. It actually what it does, it melts those huge rocks into molten state and hence it leads to formation of magma with the help of iron and silicate present in it. Okay, so this is the main source of this asthenosphere, which is also called as middle mantle, is also the source for magma. Now this mantle is also known as mesosphere. So that's all about the features of mantle. Let's quickly recap. It has 2900 km of thickness, 85% of volume, 64% of mass. It includes metals like iron and silicate. It has three classifications, that is inner, middle and lower. The one which has significance, more significance here is the middle mantle, which is also called as asthenosphere, and this asthenosphere is liquid in form. Temperature is high. So what it leads to? It leads those huge rocks into molten form, and hence the magma is formed. And because of magma, furthermore, the volcanic eruptions or volcanic activities takes place. Now we'll move to the next one. Now let's discuss the innermost layer of the earth, that is core. We have already seen it in the diagram. Now let's find out what are the features, what makes it different from mantle and crust. Now this core is also further divided into upper core and inner core, also called as outer core or inner core. Now the upper core is in liquid form, whereas the inner core is in solid form. Also it is said that because upper core is in liquid form, so it leads to the magnetic fields, that is all the magnetic fields that takes place on the earth planet, that happens because of this upper core of a earth's layer. Now next we move to the basic features. Here this layer is also called as Ni. Why Ni? Because Ni here represents nickel and Fe is for ferrum, which is also called as iron. So this layer is including minerals like nickel and iron, and hence it is called as Ni. Now this layer is having most highest temperature among all the different layers. So you can observe one thing, that as we go deeper inside the earth, the temperature will keep on rising. On the crust it was not as much as on mantle, and on the core it is much more than mantle and crust. So as we go deeper inside, the temperature will keep on increasing. Now here the temperature can extend up to 3000 to 6000 Celsius. So just imagine how high temperature is there. Now it includes 15% of Earth's volume, and there is very high pressure and high density just because of the high temperature. Now this core is also called as bathysphere. Like if you remember, the mantle was also called as mesosphere. The core we call it as bathysphere. That's all about the basic features of core. Now let's quickly recap. So core is also called as Ni because it contains nickel and ferrum. It has the highest temperature among all the layers. It contains 15% of Earth's volume, and it is further divided into upper core and inner core. The upper core is in liquid form, which leads to magnetic fields, and the inner core is in solid form. And this core, last but not the least, is also called as bathysphere. Now I hope you all are clear with all the three layers of the earth. We discussed about crust, mantle and core, and asthenosphere also, which is part of the mantle, and also it leads to formation of magma, and which later results in volcanic activities. So I hope now you're clear with the structure of earth. You're clear why earth is called as a dynamic planet. Now that's all for this video. In the next video, we will discuss about rocks and minerals, which is another very important part of this chapter. Till that time, keep on learning from this video.